I'm Carl, and in this series we're going to talk about mindful music making. Music making is an emotional activity, and we need to practice skills in connecting emotionally, not just to the music making process, but a lot of the things we do every day. So in this first video, I'm calling it preparation, and this involves skilling up in some of the things we can do to care for our own consciousness. Some of this stuff is really important to do for our health and for our mind, and basically we can make better music by looking after ourselves and practicing some exercises. So let's have a look at what we can do here. So how do you care for consciousness? Sometimes when we look out into the world, or get up out of bed in the morning, and you pick up your phone and you read the news and it's doom and gloom, it's very easy to get overwhelmed by what's happening in the world, and especially at the moment when we're in a pandemic and we've got all the kind of difficulties and issues with viruses. It can feel overwhelming, and that plays a part emotionally on us, which I think everyone is having a struggle with at the moment, including people who work with music and musicians. And I think one of the things I'd like to share is how we can deal with some of those feelings of being overwhelmed. And one of the first steps we can do is to think about what values we have and the things that we can have a grasp on and control in our lives and in our lifestyles. Because by being honest and authentic, that will translate through to the music you make. So think about the things that you do. We are a consumerist society. You have control over what you bring into your lives in terms of the things you buy or the things you do or the services that are provided to you. So think about what those values are. Choose things which you feel strongly about. For example, it might be your energy provider. If you are interested in the environmental side of things, maybe have a think about who you get your electrical supply from. It sounds really disconnected, but it's not. Making these small changes and thinking about, right, I'm going to change my electrics to a supplier that gives me renewable energy sources, that has an impact on the psyche. It's one small step, one small thing that gives you the ability to feel in control of decision making and things that you do. And all this ladders up to a bigger impact on the psyche. So yeah, take a minute, have a think about all the things that you do and you buy and these activities. And all I say is those small changes will help you feel a little more in control when sometimes things just appear to be quite chaotic and out of control. So first step is give that a go. This is all down to your subconscious, and all these things are there in your mind when you're sat down at a piano or a synthesizer or a guitar. All that stuff is there in the back of your mind. So be mindful of those little things. The second thing I like to talk about is connecting with nature. The difference it makes if I go and take the dog for a walk, for half an hour in an afternoon, and then sit back down to a writing session. It's completely refreshed, and it's such a simple thing. It's almost like actually being out there and going for a walk and seeing those different perspectives, again, really helps settle the mind and reconnects you to something deeper emotionally. And this super important. It's almost like, Carl, like, why are you telling us this? It's obvious. It is obvious. And I don't know the science behind it. I'm not trying to say this like a really technical part of this aspect, but it just works. So if you're stuck in a rut, if you're just procrastinating, all that stuff, yeah, just go for a walk, come back, and yeah, deep breaths, and you'll be completely refreshed. So yeah, nature's your best friend here. Yeah, work with it. I did a project with mental health charity Mind a few years ago, and we were working on a project about people having panic attacks and anxiety. And one of the key things I took away from those meetings was the importance of sleep. And sleep is vital for both our body and our minds to relax and take a break and have a rest. And especially in times like now, that's like, it's kind of difficult. We've got constant worry about things, and it's being fed to us every day. So finding a way to get some proper sleep, to let things settle, is mega important. So there's a few things you can do to help get some sleep. I think the main thing, and it's different for different people, the main thing with sleep is creating a routine. And those routines can be different to, for everyone. So, try and experiment with what works for you. But a lot of it involves, this process of winding down. It's getting into kind of bedtime routines. These things are really important right now when we're working from home and everything's blurring a little bit between where's the office, where's the place to chill out. Like, if you can make your bedroom that place where you're not bringing those computers in, or you're taking your phone off, those things will make a difference. One of the things with creating these routines is our minds have some kind of plasticity to follow these patterns. So we can train our minds and our consciousness to expect to be kind of winding down and fall asleep. And if we're not teaching ourselves how to rest, we're constantly wired all the time, and that means that we're not tapping into sort of like nuances and things, and we're not recognizing other things that are going around us. So sleep and rest is vital to get that kind of clarity, that information that needs to transfer into the music we're making. What we want to do is we want to be able to find that level of attention in the mind when making music to see all those details clearly. Some of the things I've learned that really work well for me are thinking about like a standard time to go to sleep and set the alarm and wake up in the morning. So for me, I find going to bed, getting in bed about 11 and then falling asleep about 11:30. I wake up a little bit later, usually about 8:30 in the morning. I know some people will want to wake up earlier. Figure out how much sleep you need. That's how much I feel like my body needs at the moment. And in terms of the kind of habits or rituals before you go to sleep, I think for me, what works really nicely is trying to think of tools which help stimulate the imagination before we go to sleep. So things that will help me dream a particular thing in a really beautiful way. So I might look at I've got a photography book of just really nice landscape photography of mountains and of hillsides and things. And sometimes if I've got a lot on my mind and I think I'm going to struggle to settle down and wind down for sleep, I'll flick through that and I'll just look at these pictures for a couple of minutes each and just imagine myself in a different place to where my head's at, to create sort of sleep content and meditation music and things like this. It all follows the same sort of pattern, creating these imaginary places that can help your imagination. It's leading the mind into these places, which is where the magic happens. And they don't need to be complicated, but yeah, there's a few tricks you can play with, in like very basic things. You can think about the stereo field. So typically someone who's wanting to use sound or music to go to sleep or meditate are doing this with a headphone experience. Just think about the soundstage and the place that you're recording. It's that atmospheric sound. Give the mind, space to breathe, like, sonically. Have not everything be so upfront. Give everything a bit of space, and it allows the sort of mind and imagination to take things in a little bit easier. In terms of sleep stuff, check out this project I did with Currys, which is a big tech company in the UK, if you're watching this in another country. Currys invited me into their stores after hours, and we were chatting about how we could create sort of this type of sleep soundscape music and use some of these sleep techniques and sleep science to help the nation get a better sleep, but using the technology and appliances that are in the stores.
To help the nation get a good night's sleep, we've brought a music producer, a sleep expert, and a whole load of tech together. Let's find out why.
My name's Hope Bastine, and we're here today in Currys PC World to help the nation sleep better.
I'm Carl Sadler, and I'm here at Currys PC World today to make music from the sounds of technology.
Well, 2020 has been remarkably stressful for us. There are changes in our schedules. There are changes in the boundaries between work and home life, and this causes a disruption with our sleep. We're curating a series of 3 tracks, and they are at very specific frequencies, and they're using a sound called white noise. White noise has a lovely repetitious calming effect, and it causes the brain to hone into a brainwave state that's called the alpha brainwave state, and that is akin to the pre-sleep state.
The tracks are all made from the sounds of technology you can find all around the house. For example, it might be an iron or a washing machine or a TV. They all have their own unique sonic characteristics. This is Soundscapes, which we're creating to help the imagination when we're going to sleep, to kind of paint a bit of a picture, and using some of these more abstract sounds to kind of create a background ambience to fall asleep to. Tracks are 7 minutes long, and that's how long it takes for us to fall into the alpha sleep state.
7 minutes is just the right time for us to get into that nice, smooth gear.
With these tracks, we really want people to settle down and have a good night's sleep.
The more relaxed you are before you sleep, the better your sleep quality is going to be, and that's what we're aiming for.
Don't count sheep tonight. Stream or download the Sound Asleep album now.
Tech is kind of given like a bad name, when it comes to sleep, in terms of like, put these devices away. But I think generally, and throughout this series, I think it's having an understanding of what technology and these machines are and the relationship we have with them. It's a conversation with them, and it's a way of working with this technology and machines in a cooperative way, and not just being led by it, but trying to find an interesting way to work together. So check that out, and yeah, that's it. Like this and subscribe so I can let you know when the next one's up. I'm making them as I go along, so if you've got any questions or anything you want to address, add them to the comments, and yeah, see you soon. Bye.